to the DRS zone. We missed you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We just finished.
Welcome.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just finished watching the British Grand Prix. We watched a little bit later this afternoon because this morning I went racing.
Yeah, you were autocrossing. You were trying to avoid all the little pylons.
Yep, sure was. This weekend is Street Machine Weekend here in our hometown in Lethbridge, and it's pretty cool. Friday night there's a cruise, a lot of cool cars. Saturday's a 100-foot dash, and Sunday is the autocross. I thought that was pretty competitive this morning out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely you were. And everything's capped off, of course, by the show and shine. There's car shows on Saturday at the same time as a 100-footer for us, for car guys. It's a heck of a weekend. It's Christmas in July.
So, as a nice little segue from Street Wheelers to F1, I was Vettel today. I felt like Vettel today. I could not get first or on the podium no matter what I did today.
Well, I mean, we'll get to that later, but not... He was trying to get near the podium, but then he was way back afterwards.
So I'll set it up. I was in a class. I have a BMW M3, and I was doing pretty decently well. I was first in my class, head by like 0.2 of a second, and then one of my competitors went like a second faster, whipped down the time, and he was right before me. And I knew about it, so I gave her shit and went too hot into a corner.
Yeah, the first one.
I think it's the second one. But
you're right, it was a left-hander and then a right-hander.
That's right. And understeered, and I scrubbed off a bunch of time and did not beat him. So I felt like Vettel.
Yeah, just nothing you could do.
And overall I was...
You were just chasing Hamilton.
That's right. And overall I was 4th fastest on the day for like total raw time. So I missed the podium.
You missed the podium.
I'm Vettel.
But you were in the points.
I was in the points.
That's right. You made the final top 5, and the rest is history until next year.
That's right. It was a lot of fun. I did have one of the more powerful cars out there. So again, like Ferrari, but no podium.
No podium. With great power comes great responsibility.
It does. And a lot of burnt rubber.
That's right. And I think the car that beat you, the car that beat a lot of people, was a little bit lighter and a little bit less power, but lighter. And that makes a huge difference in autocross.
Oh, for sure it does. For sure it does. Well, let's get on to F1, because that's where we're here. Let's talk about the British Grand Prix. It's had some interesting start to the race. I'm not going to really go too much into qualifying, because I don't think we really need to. Qualifying was okay, but it wasn't overly dramatic. The race...
Besides Bottas just slivering in the pole position ahead of Hamilton, like it was hundredths of a second worth of difference, but he...
That's Mercedes 1-2 on the start.
Yeah, again,
so
it's not like that's a new story.
No. But what I did... I really actually enjoyed this race, even though surprise was a Mercedes 1-2 start and surprise was a Mercedes 1-2 finish. It was a really good race because they actually raced. They didn't just set in a rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good. I mean, without there being a whole lot of drama in the first few corners, the Haas team managed to hit each other, which put them both out of the race within the first few laps. Not safety car, but just yellow flags. So It's like, okay, we carry on. And just like you said, because the battles were so close and everyone was so well matched, there was a lot of really, really good fights in the first half of the race.
Hamilton and Bottas right at the beginning. How fantastic was that?
I loved seeing Bottas defend Hamilton. He doesn't often get a chance to for more than a few corners, let alone a few laps, but he did, and he did a great job.
Yeah, and I also enjoyed Leclerc Verstappen, which I think is going to be a recurring theme there. I think it's safe to say at this point, especially after this race, and we'll get to that in a little bit, I think Leclerc is the number 1 driver at Ferrari.
Yeah, well, I mean, you talked about those matchups. Vettel was against Gasly right in that start, and then there was Norris Ricciardo, which even Norris said before the race, he's like, I have to get past Ricciardo because he's good on this track. And he did, but he didn't finish that way. Ricardo finished in the exact same spot that he started.
Yep.
Which was in the points, which is 7th, so good for Ricardo.
So there was a lot of great battles today. Great defending. There was
some crazy passes by Leclerc, by the way.
Yeah. Which I like that Leclerc also pushed out Verstappen on one of those.
Yep.
I was like, it's good in Austria, it's good in England.
That's all karma.
That's right. That's how that goes. But Verstappen are going, but that's regardless of the point. But I was like, yeah, that's good. If you're gonna let him race, let him race, which was the whole reason why we talked about in Canada why that was such a freaking piss off.
Yep.
But let's move on from that. Great battles all the way across, but there's 2 key moments in the race that changed the makeup of the race. One is Giovinazzi going out, and we get the fabled, long overdue safety car.
And they weren't sure that was going to be a safety car, and all of a sudden there's Hamilton and I believe Leclerc, or maybe it was Vettel, who hadn't pitted yet because they were at the front.
Yes.
So that safety
And
car
they're
comes
just like,
in, it's
boom, boom.
just like boom. You can see the teams running to get tires because everyone knows it's like tire time. Box, 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 box.
That's right. Because
And
right
that's
before
exactly what
that, Bottas had pitted on a 2-stop strategy.
That's right. So they put on mediums to him again, just like they did to
Verstappen.
Verstappen. That's right. And I thought Leclerc, because Hamilton and Vettel were left out, and then all of a sudden the safety car comes in, so everyone gets tires, and now all of a sudden everyone gets put back. And in that case with the safety car, because of where Giovinazzi went off and he was deep in the gravel, it took them a few laps to get him. So now everyone,
They gotta bring the crane.
everyone's tight. It's like it lasts 4 or 5 laps, and now all of a sudden you have a restart right at the halfway mark
And
of
what
the
a great
race.
restart.
And Hamilton just holds everybody up, and the
always
light goes
does.
green, and it's gone, and it's chaos right off the bat again, which was awesome to see because
All those battles we had
nice to see racing.
before happened again.
yeah, it was like
So,
rematches,
We're seeing racing. We're seeing good racing where people are fighting for position.
which is the whole point.
Which is the whole point. Yeah, it wasn't like, I think it was France was really bad, but like...
Yes, but
Yeah. This was really good. It was really good.
And this course allows for a lot of that and those battles to happen, and drivers were giving each other room, which was nice.
Yes.
Also racing, that's part of racing too, but in the past few races it's been they haven't, or they've given too much, or
Yeah.
things have happened and mistakes were made.
So now brings us to the second big event in the race, which is Vettel doesn't know how to use his brakes.
I was like, wait, is this Baku? No. However, it was with a Red Bull. Yeah, regardless, Vettel was just way too close to Max. And like even in the replay, I don't know what happened. He just I think he was way too close and it caught him by surprise. So Vettel hits Verstappen and spins him, and they both go into the gravel. Now, Giovinazzi went into the gravel, and I thought Max was done. I thought his race was over.
Max caught some error, bro. Like he was up on, he hit the curb and was like, woo!
Yeah, he did. So he goes into the gravel sideways, and Vettel got lucky. He only just got his rear tires.
Verstappen looked like he hit half a banana peel off Mario Kart.
And that's why I had flat spots on his tires. But somehow, even though Vettel hit him, he escapes with no damage. But the more impressive part to me is that he managed to have the quick decision making to keep on the gas, put the clutch in whatever gear he was in, and there was a little piece of track by the fence that he could see.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have to get there, and if I'm stuck in the gravel, my race is over. And he manages to get out there and keep going. And Vettel was lucky he got out too, but he had to go in for a
pit, and
a front fascia and
put it in last, and like they assessed him like a 10-second penalty, but who cares?
So he was literally last place. Like Williams finished higher than him.
Yeah. Like
last place.
It was no bueno for him. He did not do well. After I saw that, I'm like, oh, I don't feel as bad as Vettel does right now. Like,
Yeah.
That's not
You just
so,
missed a corner. You didn't hit someone because
Yeah,
you missed the brakes.
That's not so good. So with that being the case, the race finishes up the Mercedes, and then you have Leclerc, and then you have the Red Bulls after, and it was a race worth watching. It wasn't boring. It was entertaining, and that's the style of racing that F1 needs to be. I didn't mind that Mercedes was 1-2 on this race because of the action. They deserve to be 1-2 because they're the better team out there, but they didn't walk away with it. They were battles and stuff happened. Like, this is the kind of racing that F1 needs to do.
Now, you talked about the two biggest events to happen in the race. I think, like, kind of almost brushed away because it happened right at the very end. I think the third most important thing to make the podium. So they pit Bottas with 4 laps left and put on some hyper softs so he can go out and whip a fastest lap, which he does. He whips a 1:27.4, which is almost qualifying pace. Then all of a sudden, the announcers, as Lewis starts his last lap, they're like, oh man, he just did like match the quickest first sector. So Hamilton, on 30-lap-old hard tires, goes out there and punches the ticket not only for his 6th and all-time leading British Grand Prix win.
6 consecutive wins.
No, not consecutive.
They're not consecutive?
He did 4 consecutive and then 1 in 08 and 1 now.
Okay.
But 6 total, which is more than any other driver. And he somehow manages a fastest lap on the last lap because Mercedes, like, they tweak the knobs on the car somehow.
Which is crazy on those tires.
Yes, on 30-lap-old hards.
And that's skill.
He gets an extra point.
Which is also, by the way, a big F you and Bottas' face.
I hurt from my boy Bottas. Yeah. That one was a sting. And you could hear it in the post-race interview. He's like, well, that sucked. And yeah, I finished. I was leading and then the safety car and I didn't even get fastest lap. So yeah, I'm second and I still lost a point. Like,
yeah,
rough.
Yeah, but you're still second in the points in the standings and Hamilton still is the number 1 on your team.
Yeah, by 40 points.
And that was definitely a little bit of like, hey, dude, I know you're good, but you're not as good as me. Like, that was one of those.
Yeah, I know. So with the German Grand Prix coming up before summer break, it'll be very interesting to see exactly how they sit after the next race, especially Mercedes, because at this point, I mean, Hamilton's 40 points up. So unless he has some miraculous
they're gonna win.
failures or mechanical problems or something, or someone bumps him and he gets punched out of a race.
Fine. Well, we all know Mercedes is walking away with this, and likely it's going to be Hamilton again. But as a fan, I was just happier with the quality of racing that we had today.
It was a race today.
Yes.
It wasn't just F1. It was a race. And kudos to all the drivers. They raced amazingly today. What a show. It was something else to end what was, Christmas in July here in Lethbridge.
That's right. Now, I'm going to be gone to Europe for a little bit, so we won't have a post-race on Germany for a while, but during the summer break, we'll talk about it, and next time we're together, and we'll get to racing after that.
So we'll see you guys soon. As for you, bye, Felicia. Have a great time.
Bye, Felicia.
And thanks again for watching our show. Subscribe, comment. I'm Scott.
I'm Stretch. Thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.